Well, we're coming up to the village now, and you can see there's the only standing building from the airfield is this Type 22 pillbox. I won't film it too closely because it's in someone's garden really, look at that. Yeah, there's not many buildings here, well there isn't any buildings here, just this is the last one I believe. Well, welcome to my latest video. Today you find us in the North Norfolk village of Matlask, and we're here today to look at the what remains of the old RAF Matlask. And if I spin the camera around, in front of us here is the old airfield. I'll tell you more about it as we walk round. There's nothing more than the pillbox behind us to see really. It's mainly concrete taxiways, hard stands. And if you look over where that building is there, that's the foundation to an old T2 hangar, a Type 2 hangar. With this, believe it or not, during the war was one of the busiest little airfields in Norfolk. And it has a Battle of Britain accreditation because it was operational during October 1940. In fact, on the 29th of October, it was bombed by 5 Dorniers. Caused about half a dozen casualties and some damage to the aircraft from 72 Squadron that were here, as this was a dispersal airfield for RAF Coltishall, which is about 7 to 8 miles down the road. We're going to walk around the circumference of the airfield, and we've parked on what was one of the old taxiways. And on the taxiway, as you can see in front of us, is this memorial from the Airfields of Britain Conservation Trust. Eventually most airfields that served during World War II will, or before then even, will get one of these memorial stones. And on it quite clearly says it was October 1940 to April 1946. Most of the flying stopped in 1945. Dedicated to all units and personnel based here, the Airfields of Britain Conservation Trust. Rumour has it there was 3 runways here, but I also read there was only 2. But a lot of it, what I have seen is one of the runways runs roughly along the line where those trees are there. But the whole airfield was encompassed by a 35-foot wide perimeter track with hard stands, blister hangers, blast pens. A lot of the buildings here came later in the war, and we're going to see what's left today. So follow us as we go around RAF Matlask. I'll show you on a map in a minute where we are. This is what I'd call the northern taxiway, or perimeter road, and it would have gone round that way. Little evidence of that left, but there's plenty of this left. If you pulled up and looked across the fields here, you'd never believe there was an airfield here or anything like the active airfield that it was. But 1940 to 45, this was a buzzing with aircraft of all different types. The only time it was out of service was when it was waterlogged due to poor drainage, and it was also out of service from 43 to sort of late 44 when it was all upgraded. Well, as you can see, we've now come up to this, I suppose it must have become some kind of water tank, and this vast expanse of concrete in front of you here is the floor of a Type 2 hangar. Pretty standard, see them on airfields in World War II, and they're still in existence today, and where I used to work at Mildenhall, they still use the 2 that are there. They were easy to put up and went up very quickly during the expansion period before the war. Now as we come back down on the ground, you can see this gully here, or this channel, was where the hangar doors would have been. And there would have been mini sort of rails on there that they'd have run up and down on wheels. Aircraft would have come in from there, or out from here, and then gone through for maintenance and gone out the other side on that bend over there. There's a little evidence of the exterior here. Under there would be more rails when the doors were pushed back. As we come to the other side of the hangar, I would imagine that's where the doors were here, to the edge of the concrete, around past my shadow, and out that way, the other way into the hangar. And this would have just been off onto the taxiway here. Come around here and see the condition of the concrete that's left. Because it's very good quality concrete, it's dug up and used for hardcore, I think is the word for it. And it would have gone on that way, but as you can see there's trees on it now. Right, my associate producer Tony is holding the map where we stood now. I hope you can see this on here. I'll come in a little bit and hope it stays in focus. This is where we've just walked where the Type 2 hangar foundation is, which is there. And we're going to now go down this bit of the taxiway and then on the road and go all the way around the airfield and through the middle of it. There's a public footpath, luckily. And we'll see what we can see on the way. We're going this way. Come across this old gate post. I don't know if that's Wartime, but the dispersal area behind us here, or the taxiway, would have gone down there. And the road's over there. So this may have been the entrance to the base. Some say there was a guard hut here during the war, and this was the way in, or one of the ways in and out of the base itself. Right, we've just walked down here. We're now going to follow this road round, which takes us just outside the boundary of the airfield. And I don't think there's a lot to see, so I probably won't film a lot here until we get back to the bottom end of what was the airfield. And there's a public footpath that takes us right across the centre of it. Well, we've walked down the road now and we're coming back along the southern boundary of the airfield now. I don't think this is an airfield road, it's too cobbly and too rough. But the airfield now is to our left. And in front of us, you see that mound. I'll tell you a bit more about that when we get there. Now, some of you may remember a programme in the 1970s, 80s, perhaps even the 60s, called Tomorrow's World. Well, the presenter of that was called Raymond Baxter. Now, Raymond Baxter was a Spitfire pilot in World War II. For those of you that remember the programme, of course. And he actually flew from here during the war. He flew from other airfields as well, obviously. But he came back in the 80s apparently, and even then there was very little to see to the naked eye. But we know better because we found some bits. Well, we're walking up to that mound that we saw in the distance, and we can, as you can see by the ground in front of us, we're back on the airfield proper. Now, I remember 12, 13 years ago, there used to be a blast pen here, and the boundary walls went round. There was a battle headquarters somewhere here, and a few years ago, probably 10 years ago, I don't know, something like that, so it all got dug up. And this is all that's left, this bit of concrete. I don't know what the person gained by doing it. I think they stood somewhere here. They might even have been here. Anyway, they've gone now, and that's all that's left is this pile of earth. As I come out the other side, I'll have a little look up here. Yeah, some lumps of concrete here, so there's bits of it that's left. Now, in those blast pens would have been air raid shelters. They were also dug up and cleared, so that's probably what that lump of concrete was. Now, as you look across the old airfield from the southern boundary, depends what map you look at, but the air traffic control or watchtower was either there or there, but somewhere in that direction. And that was demolished back in the 70s, I believe. Some other interesting facts as we walk down here, which must almost follow the line of one of the runways, is throughout the war there's many aircraft based here. Permanent Lysander Air Sea Rescue Squadron. You had Spitfires, Mustangs, Aero Cobras that didn't last long, Whirlwinds, Tempests, Typhoons I believe, Hurricanes. They had the most incredible array of aircraft that came and went. The Americans were here for a little while, but they were never based here permanently, so it was never an American base. Squadrons, I cannot remember how many different squadrons there are. I'll try and list some of them in the subtitles to this video. But we're going to come round the airfield in a minute, pick up on an old taxiway and show you foundations of an old blast pen that's still here. Now the airfield does have one claim to fame during the war. Some of you may have heard of an episode called the Channel Dash, where 3 German pocket battleships ran through the English Channel just to see what would happen, and they basically got away with it. There were 6 aircraft I believe from here, 137 Squadron, Whirlwinds, twin engine Whirlwinds. They didn't see a lot of service in the war, they weren't that popular, but they lasted the war. 6 of them were scrambled from here to actually go down and intercept, and I believe from what I've read from various sources only 4 came back. And if I'll check the date, it was actually in February 1942, and the 3 battleships were the Scharnhorst, the Gneisenau, or Gneisenau, how you want to pronounce it, and the Prinz Eugen. And they went through the channel pretty much unscathed, which is a bit of a victory for Hitler at the time, but of course all these 3 ships were sunk later in the war. But yeah, they came all the way from North Norfolk down to the English Channel to try and intercept them. A lot of swordfishes were scrambled from Manston, which is the nearest air base to it, and they were all lost, along with their crews. Okay, so we're about this area here now, coming up here. You can see this road here, or this track here, with the perimeter. It's the perimeter track. That's this bit here. And we're coming up to this area here, where this lump of concrete is, where my finger is, and that is the remains or the foundations of a blast pen. Believe it or not, this is 35 foot wide, and it was 35 foot wide all the way around the airfield. So I'm going to put it on my fake drone as we approach, and as you can see, it's a rectangular shape. As you can see, there's 2 pens, one there full of dung, which would have been a Spitfire during the war, and another one with nothing in it. And the blast wall was this area in between. That would have stood about, I don't know, 8 to 10 feet high, and that would have surrounded each one of these blast pens. You could say that that mud bank there was actually the footings of it. It may well still be. And in those blast walls would have been an air raid shelter, so ground crews could have taken cover during an attack. As you can see, it's fairly well preserved, probably used as a beat pad later in this season. But yeah, World War II blast pens, and it can be seen from on the ground, or if you had a drone. Well, as you can see, we've come into the village now, and opposite the village sign, it's a bit like going back in time here, you've got these signs here. They're still old wooden signs with the screwed on names of the villages. Aldborough, Barningham. What we found when we came here before is there's engravings on this wall here. Not really sure if you can see them. You can see an R, an A, something there. Engravings there. Now I wonder if during the war this was a bus stop of some description. There's a V up there, and perhaps the Irks, while they were here, engraved their names and things on the wall, but this one's dated 1947. Go back past the sign, original sign, crack in it. There's a lot more here. Quite clearly says RAF 137 ROC. RAF again, can't really see that. And I wonder if there's the squadrons that served here during the war. 611 Y. I don't know. It's interesting. Every time I've tried to find something about this, no one ever mentions this. It's obviously some kind of war connection. RAF there. RAF 56. Another RAF there. So if you do come up here and you are in the area, have a look at these little engravings or graffiti. Well, that concludes our little trip around Matlask Airfield and show you what's left. Hope you enjoyed it. It's actually a beautiful day. We want to stay out a bit longer, see what else we can film. But anyway, if you did enjoy it, please hit the like button. Please think about subscribing, it is free. Last week we were in Prague, this week we're back in Norfolk. We could be anywhere in the future. We're going to try and do some more European trips, so think about subscribing. And of course, if you like the video, make a comment and tell us if you know somewhere that needs filming, or somewhere that you know that hasn't been recorded, then let me know in the comments below, or let me know my email address. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as usual, see you on the next one.